because no matter what business you're in, you need an online course. Doesn't matter if you're an accountant. Doesn't matter if you're a chiropractor. It doesn't matter if you're a holistic healer. It doesn't matter if you're a coach, consultant, trainer.
Hey, it's Alex Mandossian here, and I'm glad you decided to watch this video. Now, please subscribe to this channel because we have 3 new videos that come out every single week on ethical influence and sales and marketing. And make sure you click on the bell because you'll get notified when the new videos come out. Make sure you watch this video until the very end because I have something very special for you. All good wishes.
If you're an author, especially, why an online course over a book, right? I had over a dozen courses before I wrote my first book. Why is that? Because online courses are higher end, they're higher package deals. They're more involved. They have more content. They're more experiential. They give you more interaction with your students. And a book, you're kind of writing like a hermit in a cave, unless you've been blogging about it and getting to know your audience or your avatar reader. But typically books are written by the author based on his or her experience. With a course, you're constantly improving it. I have a beta course, then beta 2, then the launch, then the prices go up, and up. You can't do that with books. I mean, the least expensive course I've ever had is $997. And the most expensive one is over $5,000. It's not consulting, that's a course. We start with the key point. And the key point about course building is that content is definitely king, but engagement is queen. Now, in the game of chess, the king moves one space at a time. And the goal is to do checkmate, which is checkmating the king. But the queen has a lot more mobility and is the most powerful player on the chessboard. Why? I don't know. According to Mari Smith, who's a friend of mine and very well known in Facebook circles, she says the queen is the one who rules the house, right? So yes, content may be king, engagement is queen, and it's the queen that rules the house. That's Mari Smith's quote. I like the game of chess analogy where the queen has more mobility and losing the queen is a disaster. Okay, true, losing the king and you lose the game, but losing the queen, you just about have guaranteed a loss, right? So I want you to think in those terms. It's not just the content, it's the engagement. And so if engagement is what rules your house of content, then one of the promises of this show is a 3-step process that motivates your students, your members, your clients, patients even. I know wellness practitioners that have courses not to quit. The key is getting people not to quit. Now, if you turn to the world of alcoholism, drug addiction, felony commitment, like when someone commits a felony, they go to jail, most likely if they get caught, right? If you have someone suffering from alcoholism or drug addiction, they typically would go to a 12-step program or meetings, some kind of a recovery program if they're wanting to get better. Okay. Why do I bring that up? Because there's a word in those areas of recovery where quitting, if they quit getting better, the scientific term for that or name is called recidivism. You can look it up on Wikipedia. Recidivism means backsliding. So someone who went to jail, right? Recidivism for that person who went to jail and comes out and is on parole, right? It means that they haven't been meeting with their parole officer. They're missing in action and they commit another felony. They go back to jail. And over 65 to 70% of all people who have been in jail recidivate, if that's a verb. Now, same with alcoholism, drug addiction, or any kind of addiction that you can just name an ism, right? If there is recidivism, that means it goes back to the bottle, back to the drug. Now, let's say in a spiritual practice, or you belong to a club, or let's say some a religious practice that you may have or you were born into. Recidivism means they leave the church, the synagogue, the mosque. They leave the Buddhist temple, or they leave the club, whatever they belong to. That's what recidivism would mean there. It's not as life-threatening as going back to behavior that could take your life or putting someone else's life in jeopardy and going to jail, but it is recidivism that you're trying to avoid if you have built an online course. Why? Because when someone loses interest in your topic or content or module or lesson or whatever you call it in your structure, then they're backsliding and you've lost them. Yes, they've paid you, but you don't have lifetime value with them, and they feel bad, and they typically don't come back because they got left behind and they're not doing the work. Now, how do you prevent that? For example, it's not 20% of the people that do the work from beginning till end. It's called a double Pareto. The Pareto principle is the 80-20 rule, right? 20% of your group will do 80% of the work, or 20% of your list will get 80% of the revenue, right? Which means 80% of your list only brings in 20% of the revenue. Well, many people think about 20% of the people complete. Okay, definitely not 80%, 20%. From beginning till end, they do everything. No. In my experience, it is 20% of the 20%. That's a double Pareto. And that's 4%. 4 out of 100 people will complete your online course. If you have 100 people in there, 4 of them will be the rock stars and complete it. And they will be the future ambassadors. They will be the future, whoever you are, modeling your training. So you want more than 4. You want 8 or maybe 16 or 32. I'm going to teach you how to make it over 40% of the people completing everything. That's been, my highest has been 42%. And that doesn't sound high, but I'm saying doing every single thing, taking the final examination, completing it, right? That's a lot. And that's because I adopt a 3-step process to avoid recidivism. Now,
hey, it's Alex again, and thanks for watching this video. Now make sure to get that very special gift I promised you. I want you to grab your mobile phone and text the keyword you see on your screen, and text it to this phone number, 415-980-3555, and make sure you stick around for another video coming up.